thought I'd just do a little, I'm just tinkering about here on the bench, so I thought I'd just do a little update. So I posted a video a few days back about this board I'd made, and a little TAA300 old Mullard 1-watt amplifier chip. So I knocked up a second board. Turns out I'd made a few mistakes on the board, which is, I mean, I get stuff wrong. We all do. People who never learn from their mistakes are those who just plain refuse to accept they've made a mistake and figure out how to move on from it. So I'd made a few mistakes. Like one of them was where this 100 nanofarad was meant to go across the output, and I had it between two different pins. But whilst tinkering about doing some mods to correct it, I'd put 100 nanofarad across the power supply pins directly at the chip. It turns out I'd actually ended up putting that across the output where technically this chip is supposed to connect. And I'd thought I wanted to damp this, because I always find amplifiers don't like 100 nanofarad caps across the output, or any capacitance really. It's not good for them. So this design, early transistor design, who knows? So I thought, I'm going to damp it. I'm going to have a classic Zobel network. Thought I'd grabbed a 4.7 ohm. Turns out I'd grabbed a 47. But the reason it was still kind of working was because I had technically this cap at the back doing what this cap was supposed to do. But I was still getting some weird oscillations, like real sort of 50 millivolt, sort of 350 kilohertz, low level oscillation. And you can see, like, when the music played, it would sort of kick in and out. As soon as there was no signal, it would just start doing this weird oscillation. Anyway, so I did a few mods whilst I was building the second board up. Actually, this is the second board. As I was doing a few mods, this one, I was like, well, this one's actually working much better. And I sort of looking back at this one and realised the issues I'd done with it when I corrected the mistakes I'd made. No oscillation at all. I haven't tried increasing the value of feedback resistor. I might be able to it might safely run with a bit more gain, or sorry, a bit less gain, a bit more global negative feedback, but I've just left it for now. It's something to mess about with in the future. So I've had to put a network in to attenuate the input signal. Ironically enough, I just sat here the other night bored and actually found an old like schematic for a handset or something, like a telephone handset, and they'd actually done some of the same mods I'd done on here. So you never know, there might have actually been an issue with stability. And I know I'd found another page about these chips. It was like an old radio you could back in the day, a simple transistor radio that replaced their previous tube design. And anyway, this radio was home built, and this bloke had come across it years later, and he had problems with the TAA300 oscillating, and he had to do some changes. So they are a quite unstable chip by the looks of it, early transistor stuff anyway. So you know, anyway, it's working fine. So I've got a few more boards, like I say, I'm going to knock up a revision of the board. This was deliberately designed to be a big board for just messing about with. You know, you could fit all this on a tiny thing, a couple of barely any bigger than the chip really. But I sort of dug around, and I've still got a ton of stuff in boxes. So I moved house like August last year, but I've been doing some refurb work to this place. So I don't want to unbox everything, because I don't want to then have to start trying to box stuff up and make room whilst I do some other bits and bobs. So doing anything like this takes a while, because I'm constantly having to go back to a room to dig through boxes of stuff to find tools and bits and bobs, and I've slowly ended up with boxes sort of spilling out. I'd have rather kept in boxes, but yeah, I found a happy medium. One thing I did find was this. I don't know what I got this for. It must have been, I was planning on using it. It's like your classic sort of, I'll tell you what I think I know I got this for. If you look at one of my older videos I made a few years back, a valve-based microphone preamp, and I was originally going to have the power supply external, but then it was like post-COVID, couldn't get cases and stuff, and I ended up with this massive great big case, and seeing that it was the prototype anyway, it just all ended up in it, and I didn't use this. I remember now. So yeah, anyway, it's you see, it's like a small little power supply case, and it's perfect. So I've not mounted the transformer stuff yet. So little transformer. This is a way too big to be honest. It's 10 V8, actually 20 VA, because it's a 2 by 10VA 6.3 volt transformer. So it's going to be having an easy time. I was thinking of putting some extra bits in it. I'll use a bit more of that juice. So got transformer, we got bridge rectifier. It's just going to go there somewhere. It doesn't need a lot of capacitance. There's 4,700 and then there's another 1,000 on each board. So one board will sit this way round, like here, and the other one's actually going to go on the back plane here. So it's going to be a little stereo amplifier. Standard power con. I've actually got I prefer the blue ones. This is the this is like the more robust one. It's like rated for 16 amps and hot switching or something. I can't recall anyways. But so anyway, I just had it out because it's the exact physical same size. So I've just been using it to size stuff up and figure out what I'm going to drill. Volume pot with a little purple dent is my volume pot will be sitting here. So I've got to put a fuse in, going to put a power switch on it as well. And what I was thinking, so I've got, obviously I've got to figure out where to put the speaker outputs and signal input. So I might move the volume control up and put the signal input on the front. It keeps it all away from the mains wiring then. So a couple of RCA, but I did ideally want 4, so I can have different sources I can flick between. So if I put sort of a bit limited on mounting space, that's the only problem, it's a small thing. I suppose I could probably just about fit a volume pot, a switch and a left and right input all on this bit of space I've got here. Then the switch will switch from DC to a relay that can sit here, and that can like switch this signal wiring if it's, or I could just leave it one input. At some point I've got a preamp design I've got to build anyway. I've got the board knocked up for, and it will do all that preamp end of stuff. Yeah, I might just keep it simple. Might just put the left and right here and power switch on the back above the mains inlet and just a fuse and stuff. But yes, I just felt like making a little progress video. Yeah, I didn't realise how limited, I was saying it's not limited in space inside. These boards are just slightly too big. If they'd been a tad smaller, I could have got 2 side by side in it, but they just won't quite fit. So I got to put some little standoffs in, obviously, to take it up to there and some to take it up to there. And I should probably look at a phone when I'm recording. But yeah, that's my little... So yeah, anyway, it's getting a bit late tonight. I'm gonna call it a night, have a cup of tea and plod on tomorrow. But I generally don't film when I'm locking up amps and stuff these days so much. Well, really ever, to be honest. Most of my YouTube videos have been me fixing stuff, and a lot of stuff I've built, I've not even bothered recording any of it, or I've just done like a video of a load of breadboard stuff when I've started the design, just messing about, coming up with it, and then a video on the finished thing working. I just sort of get on with the build. So I thought this might be of interest to someone, being it's quite an old, you know, it's quite an old vintage piece of equipment. You know, it dates back, it's 60, late 60s, so it's like nearly at least 55 years old. These little ICs are, they're definitely from the 60s. Sort of late 60s. So I've got to put a couple of pots coming. To be honest, I found an 8K2 resistor sets this bias nearly perfectly, but I do have some pots coming, so I can drop one straight in there. This one I'm just going to have to rejigger this resistor to, instead of going across between 2 pots, just have it going between there, and then I can put the pot in there. This resistor, do basically what I've got here, this cap, so this resistor will just go straight in here, and that's right, that resistor can be removed, and then I'll put the pot straight in there. So yeah, it's plodding on. It's such a simple little amp. It really is. There's a couple of hours of most of the construction here is just going to be drilling the case out and stuff. I'll probably put, although this cap ain't going to go anywhere, tacked on, like, you know, bearing in mind we had decades where components were never fixed down. They were just held together with leads. And if you look at early transistors and stuff, they all had these massive, great long leads on, because they just were designed with the expectation that you'd build this stuff the same way as the old valve beer being built, with big lots of leads and point-to-point wiring rather than circuit boards. So this will be fine, especially in a domestic environment. It's not like it's on the road, but I'll probably, regardless, I've got some real, like, absolutely relentlessly sticky double-sided tape. I should just put a little bit down under that. So yeah, anyway, that's the that's going to be the little TAA300 amplifier in its little, and it's going to be a solid, it's quite thick, it's a couple of mil thick steel, so it's at least like 1.5 mil maybe. Let's see what the old, I know these aren't very accurate, they're not a micrometer. So yeah, about 1.5 mil. So yeah, anyway, that's all. And as always, if you watch this, thanks for watching. And yeah, I'll do a bit more of an update on this one when I've done a bit more on it. So yeah, I'll catch you again.